Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the J Gemini. Hope everybody's going ahead and doing well. We're really close to going ahead and being through with all the holidays and starting the new year. And I ended up wanting to go ahead and produce this video for a while. Finally drilled out some time to go ahead and get right into it. So, basically this video, you've seen the title, clicking on it, is the Victorinox Pioneer. Is it a sensible option for a pocket knife, everyday carry tool, in 2020? Everything these days is about super steels and fidgetability and everything like that. So does it make sense to spend your hard-earned money on one of these? The boring version, absolutely. Somebody once asked me, if you had one knife to carry the rest of your life, what would it be? And I love fidgetable knives. I love knives that I can open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, again and again and again and again and again. Sorry, going over, but you get what the idea. I like knives that make nice noises, and I can open with one hand, and this is not that knife, right? But that being the case, if I had one tool to be able to carry, I would want it to be a knife over a multi-tool like a Leatherman, but I would also want it to have those convenient features if I only had one thing. So without, let me go ahead and jump right into, what's so great about this little knife. So first, I actually want to start off with why probably I'm a little biased for this knife, and that is this. This is technically a real Swiss Army knife. The red Celador scale models that people know of, although those are called Swiss Army knives, those are the Victorinox sort of civilian models. This is a military Victorinox, at least as of 1961. This is technically an M1961 Soldier. They want Wenger and Victorinox, two companies. They're in Eibach, Switzerland. All the way back in the 1800s, took on a contract to make the Swiss Army knife for the new Swiss rifle that was made in the late 1800s. And so essentially, being such a small town, one factory was not able to contract enough knives for the military. So technically, Victorinox and Wenger are both real, legitimate Swiss Army knives. And that's why when Wenger was still making knives under their own brand, they have since been absorbed by Victorinox. Small world, right? But essentially, they on the websites, they would say the original Swiss Army knife for Victorinox and the genuine Swiss Army knife for Wenger, which is both accurate. So in 1961, they moved over to this model with the Alox aluminum scales. And the original Swiss Army knife is very true to this Swiss Army knife, where it has 4 tools on it. It would be a knife with a blade. This one's super important to me because it's my birth year knife, 92, and it's in very good condition. But it's cool that a real soldier from Switzerland carried this thing. It's kind of cool to think about. But anyways, back to the 4 items. There was a blade that they could use, which they still have a issued blade. They're one of the only countries that have an issued pocket knife. The next thing would have been a large screwdriver to take apart the rifle. This rifle in the 1800s could be taken apart by a flathead, so that's interesting. It wasn't this knife, of course. It was one that looked quite older, looked like a Barlow traditional design, but had the multi-tools in it. This one also has a cap lifter, as you can see, and it has this ground raw edge that is used as a wire stripper. The next thing is the ever so useful can opener with this flathead. Now this flathead is actually so good as a 2D Phillips. You can stick it in so many things and get decent torque on it to be able to take it apart. I've done so much work on kids' toys, babies' toys, and other things. Just open it up with this alone. They've got this nailed down to a science. And then the last thing is an awl, you know, from the 1800s all the way up until probably the 80s. Everything was leather, you know. In World War II, the soldiers most likely carried either leather goods to adjust things or canvas. So, and even earlier than that, everything would have been leather. So if you needed to do repair on your gear in Switzerland in the 1800s, an awl would have been really important. So anyways, that's the tool set from the Pioneer, the Soldier, which they discontinued the Soldier in 2008 and came out with a modern Soldier. And so they changed the name to the Pioneer, which this is identical in almost every way. So this is the knife we will be talking about today. So why is this such a great knife then? Well, the steel, the first thing is with a Swiss Army knife, the steel that they use doesn't hold an edge forever, I'll be honest. But it is so super easy on the bottom of a coffee cup or, on a reel of the fictional, sharpener like this to be able to just go and the edge is hair popping sharp right again. It's also very forgiving. It rolls instead of chipping. So this edge will go ahead and last a very long time. And, they have a warranty that is lifetime. So really you can buy this and have a knife forever, which is a great thing. Like I said, if you're going to carry one knife for the rest of your life. The blade is super good for EDC. It is this pin blade, sort of midpoint, drop point blade. They call it, like I said, a pin blade. It has a little bit of belly here, and it has this big straight here, and it has this lower than center line, apex where the point is, which is great for opening packages and stuff. You just barely tilt instead of having to do like this and draw across, barely tilt down, and you're going ahead and hitting that point. Unlike something like this that is, more above the midpoint, you actually are using the belly to cut tape and stuff, while this is a lot better since it's more like a sheep's foot or a Warncliffe. But it's a perfect blade. You can't really ask for more here. It's very, very thin, very slicey, full flat ground on both sides, comes with a high polish, and is insanely stainless. Picked up a Victorinox from a flea market once, had rust spots on it, did like that with my nail, put some oil on it, never have seen it again. I mean, they're just bomb proof. The next thing, like I said, the tool set, other than the awl, which again, the awl I use for actually like personal grooming and stuff like that. Strangely enough, I don't do really any leather work, but the other tools are amazing. I have used the can opener before, and more so of, I have a Victorinox, let me open up a can, instead of actually needing it in a survival. But if you take this camping, this will do work. It's great for whittling. It is super strong, no blade play whatsoever. These things are just dumb tanks, and that's why they are real military, the real military version of the Victorinox. So like I was saying, this tool already has proven itself time and time again. Everything from, opening up cans to being a smaller flathead to taking off light socket covers and doing Phillips work as well. It's just absolutely an amazing tool. The flathead, it's larger, goes at a 90 degrees, so you can actually torque on it for things, which is amazing. And it opens up at the full, straight 180. This one actually has a wire stripper on the Pioneer right here, where you just put it like that, pull away, it strips the wire. It's more well finished over all the tools actually. And then this is great for a pry. I've used this multiple times for paint cans, opening them up, and just other sorts of things. I don't use a pry very often, but when I do, it's almost always one of these, and one of the best, bottle openers ever. Just donezo. Of course, the awl, as we were saying, is extremely sharp. Would probably be good to clean out, you know, threads and things from thread locker and do all sorts of stuff. I actually, weirdly enough, will use it to sort of groom, and if I have like a burr on my nails or something, or do like that. Again, that's probably kind of gross, but to be honest, that is what I actually use it for. And this would be amazing to actually drill into drywall, believe it or not. I've taken this into drywalls to start an anchor, one of those plastic anchors in there. So again, these tools, although quite simple and more knife-based than multi-tool based, are just as capable and hold their weight in gold, which comes back to why I would carry this knife. Also, a sentimental value of this knife. When I was young, one of the first knives I got from my stepfather was a soldier, just like this, which, let's talk about that. As you can see, the crests are different. This is the real military crest from Switzerland. This is Victorinox company symbol. They're two different things because this is an actual military knife. This is a Victorinox civilian, not homage, but you know, it's the continuation of the M1961. But back to the M1961, I got one of these, not a 92, in the early 2000s in like a blister pack. My stepfather got it for me. I remember my weak, you know, little 10-year-old hands not even being able to open the blade with my muscles and things like that. But he got it for me saying, hey, you're becoming a young man. And me and him really didn't get along. We fought. I thought he was a jerk. He thought I was a brat probably. But he got me this, and you know, we started becoming a little bit more close, getting into some of the same hobbies. He got me this knife. I accidentally took it to school in my pocket. Now, if I didn't have said anything, I could have just went home. I wasn't trying to do anything heinous, but as a kid, you're just thinking, oh my God, somebody's going to find out. So I told a teacher, which told a principal, who told him. He took the knife and said, hey, when you're of age, you can finally get this back, and when you show me that you're a man enough and responsible enough. And he actually passed away before that ever got to happen, and the knife got taken, and, you know, just, you know, closings of everything, and, you know, dividing out goods and stuff like that. So to me, that's probably my bias, to be honest. Quite a crazy story, but this is always like kind of like Genesis, the reason why I'm into knives, and the reason why I'm into EDC, and just always reminds me of him. So let's not get too crazy or choked up on anything like that. The other thing about these knives is the collectability. You know, I'm into Spydercos, and I'm into, you know, like the Civivi. You can get the Elementum, you can get thousands of different versions, and, you know, with O-lights and things like that, you can get tons of different colors, and it's collectible and match your. These are the kings. You can, here's one right here that's actually quite rare. Now, this is a Pioneer Rancher, so this is not a standard Pioneer. As you can see, it's actually a 3-layer model, and it's the Bugnard contractor exclusive. So because these knives are from Switzerland, there are certain groups that collab with Victorinox and make special limited run models, and the shops that actually sell them don't ship to the United States. So you have to actually buy it second market rate, to get them over here, essentially, and they're quite rare. And that's the thing, some of them, I saw a Bugnard Old Cross is what it's called. It's basically these, that's like, but instead of having this, it literally just has like a cross with nothing around it into the metal, and they're extremely expensive. So I saw a Bugnard going for $700. That's an Old Cross Alox. These things are big money, and they're very collectible, and they come in all different types of colors. There's a Nespresso ones that are recycled that, you know, when they were new were maybe $50. Now they're going for $200. These things are buku, and, you know, they make these limited edition ones. This one comes with a hawk bill. It's actually kind of like American knives have a reason for your, you know, labor, like a trapper, or you know, stockman, or things like that. These Victorinox have basically, since they've been around since the 1800s, have sort of done the same thing, where they've ended up having knives that were made for special work. So this is meant to, you know, you're grabbing a plant, a rose, you know, cut back towards you, cut the stems, you know, or cut, you know, props or things like that. But for an EDC, it's really good for just digging right into a package and making sure only that tip gets in and nothing else. And it also comes with a lot of the same tools. As you can see, the blade, and a saw. They've also ended up coming out with a Farmer, which is just a saw, and a Pioneer with the, with the Phillips and the 2D Phillips and the can opener. And there's a lot in between. There's also the Pioneer X, which comes with a scissors, which is one of the best Victorinox tools, one of my favorites. And there's the Farmer X, which comes with the saw, the scissors, and the 4 main tools from the original Soldier. So there's so many different in-betweens as well that I could continue to go on and on, but it's just these type of things that make this knife, like if I had one model that I could buy from and play with and carry, and even though it doesn't come with a pocket clip, it would be these guys. They're just amazing knives, and they're built so very well. They have an amazing warranty, very great at slicing, easy to tune up, not a super steel. Again, I would love to see a, you know, something crazy like 20 CV on one of these, but even without it, you know, they make Damascus ones that are insane money, very rare, and, you know, they make exclusives every year, and just, I could go on and on, right? But it stands that it's a really great knife. The only things that I would maybe say to keep in mind about these is like a negative, is that with these knives, even though the quality for like the price, these are like $35, $40, you know, and you can get some of the other ones that are more rare. But the one thing is that the way they make the blades to fit, come from over here to over here, is they bend the blade. So because of that, like this one is to the very right. This one's kind of in the middle, and the Bugnard, which I'm sorry, is usually my EDC I put in my back pocket, is perfectly centered. So there's some deviations on that, but for the most part, everything's good. Now, the one thing that you do want to be careful with about these blades, or any Swiss Army knife for that example, certain ones won't have the problem, but most do, is that when you're closing the knife, you naturally, because we hold a lot of liner locks like this, want to go like this, and close this tool with one hand. I want to recommend anybody who gets one to close it like this, because if you take the knife and get the cap lifter to about here, it actually creates a spot where you can push, there we go, you can see it, you can actually push the blade into the path of the cap lifter. And then when that happens, if you do it unintentionally, it will actually blunt this edge, which this Victorinox and this one as well both have blunted edges, which again you can sharpen out, but if you're anything like me, kind of OCD, you would rather that not happen than it happen. I mean, I feel like everybody would as well. So that's sort of the only thing, sort of a trick of the trade I've learned to keep in mind with these knives. But I mean, really, that's the long and short of it. I love these knives. I could go on about history, every single model. I mean, if you're really interested in them, you can do that yourself. But that's basically the, you know, real depths into it. It's amazing, great for EDC. You can also end up getting things like a yellow birch, or what is the recycled fireman, or there's a lot of different carriers that you can put like a flashlight, a pin, and a Pioneer size knife perfectly fits, or Soldier, in a slot. You can collect your birth year. You can get something that's more tailored for your job with specialist tools. And even though these are slip joints, they're really fun to fidget. That's my main thing I love with knives, is fidgeting. and just the walk and talk of these are perfect. I love to just sit and open them and close them and listen to the different sounds that every tools make. So even though these are not one-hand opening, and that is its other big drawback, it's almost as fun to fidget these and listen to the noise as something like a flipper or an axis lock or something like that. It's just a different enjoyment. But yeah, that's basically it. If you end up going ahead and picking one of these up, in the comments, I would love to see if you actually got one, if this got you hooked. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I am a channel that's trying to go ahead and grow very aggressively as well, so I'd appreciate if you like this kind of content and want to see more, go ahead and subscribe down below. Of course, I hope everybody goes ahead and stays safe with everything going on. Have a great, happy holidays going ahead and coming up, and a great new year right around the corner. Everybody take care and stay safe. Peace.